Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast with Mr. Sandeep. He's one of the technology leaders in a very well-established startup, Pickrr. So we will be discussing with him on our journey of zero bug revolution, and he will be sharing how he is leading his team, what are the key best practices he is using, and what we can implement in our respective uh, technology or testing teams or DevOps teams, in the whole life cycle of the product release. Sandeep, welcome.
Thank you, Rupesh. Thanks for having me here.
Sure, thank you. And Sandeep, if you would like, can you maybe give a brief introduction to the audience about yourself, and then we can start with the detailed questions.
Sure. So I think, hey, I'm Sandeep Dinodiya. Currently, I'm the CTO of Pickrr, heading entire engineering, all the spectrum strategy, how the roadmap will works for all the aspect of technology. Prior to that, I was heading technology for OYO in order management, fraud, return, refund, and all the journey for all the 85 countries. Prior to that, I worked with Lenskart. Prior to that, I worked with Cisco. Prior to that, I worked with Ribbon Communication. Now it was initial Sonos Network and started with Wipro. So this is the journey I have traversed through.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Sandeep. So, Sandeep, tell us a little bit about what is the overall structure of your technology team? What are the how you make sure that you have tension-free bug releases, production releases in the industry. Everybody is tense about when the production dates are coming closer, how the things are moving up. So, little bit tell us about that one.
Yeah. So idea about the all the team structure in terms of pods here, which is like definitely about the business pods, like and along with the central teams. QA, front end, DevOps, data platform, data science, these are the central platforms so that everybody can leverage them, and there will be one strategy that we can look for, especially towards the, let's say if I talk about the QA part of it, so the automation. So if we have the framework that we can leverage across all the segments, also with the data science and other parts. So this is the teams are divided in this. You rightly mentioned, because once the releases pressure, and then we compromise a bit also sometimes on the basis, and there we toggle and we try to accommodate in some part of it during our unit testing, developing, as well as if it isn't going in QA, and QA also, like if it is divided into, let's say, manual or automation. Yes, manual sometimes tend to make mistakes for sure. I think we all know, right? It might be
Yes.
some of the use cases, and that's what the automation comes handy. But automation also has some cost even. So I think, and also like some of the, I would say, the domain knowledge also required to test it in any functions, I guess. So
Yes.
and the corner cases. So it is hard to give it, and I think it's difficult, I would say, to give zero free bug in the production. But before that, if we can mitigate those risks, test end to end all number of scenario prior to the test plans and everything, and try to automate and minimize those, and we tend to achieve that part.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, thank you, Sandeep. So, Sandeep, tell us, when you're developing the product or managing the code base of your products, what are things you think might help to have lesser bugs in the production? Because eventually the budget spent on the QA will go down if more structured development is done, or we are able to do find more defects in the unit testing. Like in the shift left, it is always said that no, as early we can find the bugs, it's always good for us, and then our cost of finding bugs drastically goes up as we move through a production, or if we find in the real production, it's a much bigger headache itself.
Right. I think we and we all know, right? Because it's a shift left strategy is working for most of, and then I think everyone is shifting towards that as well. So
Yes.
I think if we are developing, we try to corrupt the all the base cases and test cases. I mean beforehand, even while we are building. So it means the involvement of QA not at the last moment. It has from the beginning of that, so that QA also understand, because it's no more support functions even, because it has to collaborate with from the beginning. So it's easier to write those tests, automate them at certain level, and use the framework which might make it in generic way. Because if anytime, if someone is writing code, all the plugins, if it is already can be usable, we should use that even. So
Yes.
I think that way we can go towards it and then try to solve those problems.
Okay, okay. Sandeep, anything you want to share with our audience? Any kind of productivity hack which you think help you to be more effective in running your test function or dev function?
So I think we build in-house framework which is SRT, which is mix of it, and it's a one single code base. Selenium, Rest Assured, and TestNG. It's a mix of plugins. I think there is no
Okay,
secret source, but we plugged it into one repo, and everybody is using for our different use case. Just like
got it.
Selenium for UI test, then it is Rest Assured for all our API testings and all with the TestNG definitely, and that gives all the structure towards like what could be your reporting, what, and it is integrated with the Slack, that what we are using for internally testing, and Sanity also reporting comes around, so it is easier for us to those unblock blockers that are already unblocked. So I think and speed is much faster in those cases, so uh, we are using those frameworks here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So you're basically saying that your SRT framework, which is a Selenium, Rest Assured, and the TestNG integrated framework, is helping you to achieve much higher efficiency, which you felt is a better way of managing the whole automation framework from the front end and the back sort of thing.
Yes, right.
Got it. And are you also using any kind of automated dashboard, or are you using a quick Slack alert mechanism, which is sort of through which you are communicating?
So as of now, we are using Slack mechanism and using our own, let's say, so some sort of reports which is required or email or so. But
Oh,
actively, we are using Slack for all the communications. So I think it is integrated all the audience which is required. All the reports this is being sent to them on nightly basis or maybe on hourly basis, which it is required then. Or if it is something is failing or sanity suits are running.
okay, okay. And Sandeep, are you so even if those are vendors or your employees or anybody, they are all part of your Slack groups, different Slack groups where you're spreading this communication to bring all the teams on the same page.
So vendors are not part of this group. Is I mean,
Okay,
all internal employees are part of, and more or less because some of the bugs which is related to tech and product, which the admin sometimes might not require because they might take panic, which is doesn't make sense even. So we
got it.
refined those noise and signal kind of stuff, so that it is easier to maintain from the tech point of view. Also wherever it is required, let's say we have other channels like severity one issues and all, if we see anything broken, and then we usually alert there, and we have our own calls and all, so that we can tackle those issues as well. And these frameworks and these mechanism help us to identify things beforehand, so that it will mitigate the risk it's supposed to be. So I think it is doing good job for us as well.
Okay, thank you. Sure. Okay. And what is your take on on the license tools like either Neoload or Tricentis or HP tools versus other open source tools which you're using like Selenium, Rest Assured, or where you might be spending very little budget on at least on the licensing angle. What's your take on that point?
Yeah. So I think there is no harm into looking into it. I think it depends on the what stage the company is, what is the priority of the company, also what we are looking for as a org as well, and what is the bug density is you want to go into deeper and all, and based on the expertise also. If you don't have the expertise, let's say, if you don't have the folks also to build it, because it's required a little deep tech also to make it little generic also. So I think and goal of everyone to ship the bug free product, we all know, right? Nobody want to
Yes.
ship the bug product. So I think to use these the tools, it helps us. I think there is no harm in it. It's always I would say pros and cons for everything. Like if you definitely cost associated with it, also like easy, because from the day one you can use it rather than evolving. Also no need to, if you don't have the deeper vision, no need to evolve the wheels even, because it's already evolved. I think these are the in my point of view, I think it's a conscious call that what we should use and what we should not.
Okay, sure. And Sandeep, like for the next 6 to 12 months, what is your key objectives or key goals through which you are thinking you might be able to improve the efficiency of your team or able to get more stabilized product in production?
First thing is, I would say at least 90+% of automation suite that will be running, so that if anything is going, which is running as we speak today, it should not break the existing one at least. So that
Got
if it is breaking, we should not, it should not go into the production even. So all CI/CD mechanism, associated with the all the sanity suit, so it run it and then tell you that, hey, this is breaking and this is not happening. So this could be one part of it. Along with it, like if you see here, all the you know automation is evolving, right? I mean, a
yes.
lot of, and it is going towards the machine learning aspect of it. We are also seeing that, if we really want to nail it, how do we do it? So that, gathering those data, put it into some sort of model and then learn from it. So I
Got
think that could also, we can, and we are thinking that, and the data is also starting accumulating, so that we thinking, hey, why don't we explore it as well? So we have in-house data science team, so then we can start leverage this data. So it might help us in future, like a certain point of time, how's the bugs, what kind of certain kind of bugs is coming, we can predict those
again
things.
and again.
Yeah.
Yes. Got
So I think this could be, and also like the automation part of it. So these are the two goals that I'm looking forward first.
Okay. So basically, you are trying to look for using AI ML for bug predictability in your different modules, where or understanding more frequency of bugs where you might be seeing in the coming quarters, and then obviously increasing your automation. These are
Right.
two goals you're looking. Okay. And how do you think overall in the industry angle, next 1 to 2 years will change um, in achieving better automation, better, maybe secure products in the market? How do you think?
So I think first thing, if we talk about all the bug-free product, it's not about the functional, I guess,
Yes.
and it's no more functional, I believe, because it's a security is the, I believe, much more concerned angle for the people who are shipping the product. Because in today's world, where a lot of hackers, a lot of nuances are there, we should protect it, and also nobody can abuse it as well. So I think the security testing, and then definitely it is different angle of it. Also like the functional testing, also like the thinking of reducing the bandwidth and optimizing on the man efforts as well, and go towards the automation. So I think in 1 to 2 years, people will go towards the proper automation, and definitely I can see as a machine learning and AI as could be the one path where people can look. Also, if someone can leverage the data which is there, and definitely the CI/CD tool beforehand, they can identify the bugs. Also, I would say the auto resolution, rather than devs comes into and then see it. Just identifying those who
Got
say this is like this could be the bug, so that they can directly go and then resolve right and right there. It's kind of certain kind of tools, or maybe build those tools towards it. I believe that will reduce the lot of pain points from the developer, from the let's say product perspective, along with the shipping perspective, along with the bug free product as well.
it. Okay. Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And how do you think about the budgeting allocations? Do you think in the coming 2 to 4 years the QA teams will get better budget, or the budget will reduce because the more budget will be spending on doing proactive development, better work in development, so that we are spending lesser in the in the QA function?
uh, I think tricky. I would not associate it with it. I think, in my point of view, definitely it matters. But if you see, if you are thinking about bug-free product, right, it requires certain kind of skills also to build. Also,
Yes.
if you're talking about, if you are saying, hey, machine learning and AI, so I mean, these people gonna build it definitely, because and that required. So it means if you see those resources inside it, it is go up even, but at the same time it will reduce the pain points because it's a ROI of that.
Yes.
Definitely, because I would say the manual, I believe, will be there for this. I think, but at the same time, we'll start shifting towards these paradigm. So that will help us to cater the cost also. So that we can have a lowest and people towards the you can say manual, and then much more towards the automation and all. Because at the same time we can cover the horizontally, we can cover the aspect of it, because multiple I mean releases we can do definitely with the low resources if we kind able to build it. So I
Got
think, but it will take some time to covering the budgeting at the same time, because initially we need to build, those aspects of it.
Yes, agree. Okay, wonderful. Okay, and as a person, what do you think is the most exciting part of your role, and what is most boring part of your role? So
Okay. Uh, I would say exciting part is people. Second is problem solving, because I'm also involved in day-to-day architectures, day-to-day brainstorming session that what we have, and would love to contribute there as well. And I think we have a great people that who all are talking about how we can scale it, how we can evolve it, and then people who are changing the status quo. So it means they will also not give you the rest for sure, because they will ask the hard questions and you need to be prepared. So I believe this is the great spirit, and we are maintaining here at Pickrr. And I believe that it is the keep on going part. Every day there is a new thing, so that we can nail it. And then definitely the permanent solution, not rather than definitely we require the short term solution, but we always look towards the longer solution. So I think this is what exciting. You can see that I'm
got it.
always looking forward. Boring, I won't say, because literally I'm enjoying, at least that what I'm doing. So
Got it.
I think I love it and I build it with passion. So I can I don't know what boring means, at least that what I'm building. So
Got it.
yeah.
Okay, sure. What are the anything you think in your journey of working with so many companies, building product, majorly working with a lot of startups and building products? What could have been, what was your biggest mistake? What was your key learning out of that production cycle? What could have been done better that time? What do you think?
I think it was in past, and believe me, because I believe if someone says it's a zero free bug, it's hard actually. It's
Yes.
hard. So there are multiple aspects of it, I think. So I think there were instances where we were migrating entire system and we were doing 1 million booking a day, and I think it's in this kind of system, and building the separate system which is microservices based. And what we did is, like, creating booking was happening from the one system which was new, and updating was happening from the older system. So we end up giving double discounting. It cost us hell dollars, and we did not able to identify for 7 days even, because and I think I believe mistake happens, I frankly speaking, and I take the responsibility also, but at the same time it's a great learning. How do we do it? And after that we were able to place it, the framework, the all the check and balances and everything, so that
Okay.
we build the system around it, that we fenced it. So
Got
it
it.
was happening trenches, but now it's like, if you can see, I know, prior to that, and then before and after journey is tremendously different.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep. And what is your, advice to software developers, testers, or QA engineers? When you who are trying to build a career into this technology line. What?
I think I believe that if I would have been in the same place, and I was even, so I think first thing is a passion. I think that is much more required. Second is do it no matter what, who thinks what. And I think make mistakes, no problem. I think it is evident to make mistakes, but learn from them so that it should not get repeated. And trust your guts. Go with the technology. Try to build the great products. Ask right set of questions. I mean, there is no harm in it. Who will think what? Because it is better to get your answer, correct, and then move forward. I think it's a journey. I think nobody is doing, I think, for instance, day one it is going perfect. Even it's a journey with a different technology in the market, where the different products, where the different kind of complexity, whether it's a domain level, whether it is a tech level, and tech is also evolving day by day. And there
Yes.
is no harm what you are choosing. I mean, it's all about your passion, but what your passion allow, do it, whether it's a DevOps, data science, data engineering, whether QA, SDET, whether it's a core developers, whatever that you think of. I think so. I think I believe that that works. And believe me, because people who are pretty much passionate, they usually change the stream. Like I know folks who were using doing regular development, then goes into data engineering, then goes into data science, and they nail it everywhere. whenever I think of what is the recipe, it's about only single thing. That's what we were talking. Like, it's about the right set of question, mindset, definitely the passion, because they want to learn it, and that's how I think people evolve.
Yes, agree with you. Yes, I think being passionate about learning something new and constantly understanding where do you fit best, I think is the right way to grow. Good, wonderful. And overall in the DevOps and in the testing and the dev space, what are the top five tools you think will be dominating the market in the next 2 to 5 years?
Okay. So I think if you ask me, I'll not take the particular names though,
Okay.
but I can tell you is like, definitely the what their functioning may be. So I think one is like configurations of your machines. I would say that it is like, the tools. Also, the monitoring of applications, and there
Yes.
are many which is required also. Uh, Also, like, tracing the requests also, because which is important, because in a big ecosystem where the multiple microservices, or maybe multiple monolithic plus microservices or monolithic systems, you
Yes.
require what is going on, because if the cost of going wrong is much higher than to what it is there. So we need to have a right set of tool to identify, and definitely to resolve also, but I think it will reduce the time to nail the what is the problem. So first, what should be defined, and these tools will help. Also, like, right set of like, again, your infra point of visibility. It could be, the open source, maybe Grafana, using Kibana also. I mean, these are open source, so people can do. There are other solutions also available in the market that it is people can, use it. But the idea is to get the visibility end to end. What's going on? If it is going wrong in any aspect, then put the threshold. Also, like, put the alerting and monitoring. Put your teams on alert, like, maybe on call kind of system. Put a proper place, so that if anything goes wrong, how do you, respond in first response to that problem. Also, the put the process and log those tickets, having regular review to them, so that if any problem comes up, it should not come again. Even, or if it is coming, then we should change it, maybe for the you can say the longer perspective, because sometimes short term will work, but longer term is required. Otherwise, that particular bug or something like that keep on repeating. So I believe these things will help, and there are multiple tools around it for each segment.
Yes, agree. Okay, wonderful. And then, how do you are you using like are you doing a lot of deep dive analysis into post production tickets or post production defects, and then having some kind of feedback mechanism back to engineering team, data engineering team, and the QA teams? How do you manage that cycle?
So we have a weekly review cycles for each ward. So if I ask, to give you this answer, as our tech support team does a fantastic role in this. So every ticket which is coming, what is the nature? When did we respond to it? What is the severity and all? And we usually, segregated on week and month basis analysis. Like, what goes wrong for this? Let's say ticket number increase, what has happened? Because it usually, it is, let's say, certain percentage. If it is goes by 20%, something has happened. What has
Yes.
happened? If something goes into production, why and how? Also, like, what kind of, bugs are coming up, and we usually take a only top two for the particular week. We don't want to go for others, so that we solve for it and then resolve. And definitely the on-call teams, other pod leaders also help us to, tackle this situation. But this is important function, I would say,
Okay.
because first thing is a customer facing. We don't take it lightly. Also, it gives us the, a lot of pain point of the customer, so that we can solve it. Because shipping product, I believe, will not only help you, because we are shipping for the customers. If customer are impacted, then there is a problem. So we have a highest customer obsession to resolve that. So that's how, and based on the data points, we usually, come up with this.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful, Sandeep. Yes, yeah. Any closing remarks you want to give to the audience? Anything on the technology or general career advice or anything?
And not advice, I would say.
Yeah.
I think, do what you believe, and do it with passion. That's what.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Sandeep. Thank you.